Hi, everyone. I wanted to introduce you to a new series of videos that we are going to launch right now called Behind the Scenes. In this series, we want to talk to people who make our fellowship work. We're going to start off with board members, and there are 9 of us, and then we'll move on to the wonderful volunteers who support all we do. That's all it's going to be, and we hope you enjoy it. And I look forward to hearing from you as to what we should be doing next. Thanks. I am joined right now by Bonner Miller Cutting, who joins us from a bar. Bonner is, as you may know, is one of the participants in the Blue Boar Tavern discussion group for members. So Bonner, thank you for joining us. Why don't we start by your giving us a sense of the different committees that you are on?
Okay. At the moment, I'm on 4 committees, and I'm chair of one of them. I'm on the conference committee, which is a very, very busy committee, especially busy committee. I'm on the research grants committee. I'm on the video contest committee, and I'm chair of nominating committee.
Okay.
So it keeps me busy.
I'll bet it does. Why don't you tell us about the conference committee, since we have a conference coming up?
It's just a great committee, and part of what makes it so interesting is that we have so many people think, well, we just arrange a conference. Actually, there's so many facets to the conference committee. One of it is, along with meeting constantly, to be making arrangements and dealing with just the things that go into making reservations and finding the place and the venue and all of that, is that we have to look at the papers and the presenters, because they're really the stars of the show. And we have to get out a call for the papers. We're constantly adjusting the parameters to try to make it so that it's appealing, and we get people who want to do it, who will fit into what we're doing at that particular conference. And so to tell you how many discussions go on would take a long time. But we get the submissions, and then we read them. This last batch was 60 pages worth of stuff to read.
Wow.
So it's not. It takes a little bit of time and to figure out what each of us think on the committee, and then we have a discussion. It used to be by conference call, but now conference calls have turned into Zoom. We Zoom all over the place, and we decide on the people who we think will be the best choices for this particular conference coming up, and then we send out the invitations to them. Something that I do that most people probably don't know, maybe better off if they don't know I do it, is I do the syllabus for the conference. So after we get all of the invitations out, toward the end of the summer, I'll send out an email to everybody to ask them for their abstracts, which I already have, because or if they want to do more to the abstract, rearrange it, whatever, and their bios. And that can be a bit of a process, because there are always a few people I have to beseech a little bit more than others to finally get all the information that I need. And once I've extracted it, I put it into a template. And the template has evolved over the years I've been doing this. And we now have a much more elegant template that was worked up for us by our wonderful artist. May I say her name?
Sure.
Lucinda Folk, whose husband is the treasurer of this on our Board of Trustees. And so when I get all the information, I will put it into this template that we have now. And of course, she may want to polish it up some more, because everything always is constantly evolving. And then after I get it, I send it to somebody to proofread, and I get things back to redo, and then finally send it back to the artist. So I'm sort of the shuffler in chief when it comes to all this stuff. But I enjoy doing it, and then I participate in working up the theme for the cover, and then I take it on a nice little flash drive and get it made into posters. So that's where the posters come from.
I never knew.
People never knew. A process.
So it sounds to me very much like if you're getting 60 odd submissions for 15 or 20 slots,
Oh, that was pages, not that.
Oh, I'm sorry,
No,
pages.
sir, not that many, but because some people will send a big, a whole paper, and other people will just send a few paragraphs or a page or two. So it's a very,
Right.
but yes,
So
sir.
let me go back and restate my question. You've got a finite number of slots over
That's true. Yes.
3.5 days or so. And that's going to be 6, 12, 18 slots maybe for presentations, panels, etc.
Yes, over the years, as I've worked, initially I was working when I started this job in 2006. I was working, it was simply me and John Hamill who worked on it.
Wow.
And now we have a bunch of, well, we still have, John is no longer president, but he still does all kinds of wonderful things for us.
Yeah.
And still works that through. But it usually, over the years, it's been about 20, sometimes a few more, but we usually have about 20 slots and to allocate to panels.
And how many papers this year did you get for the 20 or so slots?
You've caught me in a little bit of a blank because we did them in 2 batches. We had 2 calls going out, and I'm not quite sure how many we had the first time around, but at least between 30, 35.
Wow.
We do have a lot. Now, not 60, but.
Okay, so one thing you can say is the interest in the Oxfordian issue, as shown by the people proposing papers or documents or else, is not decreasing, but it is increasing. Would that be accurate?
Actually, I can say that wholeheartedly. It is, since I've been on it for so long, and I bet John Hamill would agree. Yes, it's been vastly more good. More people want to present. More people have good papers to do, good, interesting things to want to tell us about, and we want to know about. And yes, this whole thing is just blossoming, and it's wonderful to see. From sort of, I have sort of a bird's eye view of it, so it's really great.
You do. All right. So in your free time, you have 3 other conferences that you're involved with. Why don't you talk about research grants and how that works?
Another wonderful thing that's been blossoming is the Research Grants Committee. We put out a call at a particular time of year and with a deadline for people, and we get grant applications just like other organizations do. Now, granted, we have a finite amount of money to allocate, and we get in proposals. And once again, we read them, and some of them can be very, very complex and very, very involved, elaborate. Others are more simple and straightforward. But we read them and we study them, and then we talk and try to ascertain which ones are likely to be productive. It's because people want to go somewhere. One of the best things we're doing is we have people who want to go to other countries to look in archives that have never been looked in before. And so we look and see who wants to do it and who has the capabilities to go here and what they can do, what they want to do, and how much we think that might be productive or promising for them to go to this particular place. And then we take all those things into consideration and give them as much funding as we can with what we allocate. That
sounds great. I know that a number of people have gone to Italy to go into the archives there, and their report, I think it was Michael de la Hoyde and his colleague. That was terrific. I heard them in, was it Chicago was where they presented? It was really terrific.
Michael and Colleen Moriarty.
Colleen, that's it. Yeah.
Have done just some fantastic things and come up with some great finds.
Yeah.
It's contributed very greatly to our store of knowledge.
Right.
And
terrific.
There's even more promise out there for them. So
tell me about the video contest committee.
Okay. Not to go back too much into history, but it is the next gen contest that had once begun as a high school essay contest that was begun by Lynn Kozinski, a wonderful author, and she started it and she ran it, and then I was chair of it. that was back before the organizations merged, but then once we merged, the board, and I wasn't on it at that time, but they made the decision, and it was a good one, that essay contest that video making is more popular and more appealing to the general public and to young people and students and everybody than essays, and so that was the birth of the video contest. It's been going on I've been on the committee ever since it started, for about, I want to say 5 or 6 years. I'm not sure now, in that neighborhood. And once again, every year, well, we're getting bumper crops of videos that come in. And so once again, it's just everywhere I look, I'm seeing good things happening.
And so finally, in terms of your committee work, the nominations committee, tell us about that.
Well, the nominations committee was provided for in the bylaws, and it's how we choose new people for the Board of Trustees. I've been chair of it for the past 2 years, and I have 2 wonderful people who've served with me, Cheryl Egan Donovan and Joan Leon, and both of them have been Oxfordians of the Year. So they really have. There you are. Knowledge and understanding of what people are doing and who would want to be on the board. So we talk about it and we just discuss things. And well, first of all, we make sure that everything that we're doing we make very sure is in keeping with the board, with bylaws. So we get advice from our attorney, one of whom is Alec McNeil, and he advises us on the right procedures to be sure that we follow, and we do. And we come up with a slate that we nominate for the next round of the Board of Trustees. So, and
sorry, go ahead.
No, I was going to say it's been in my hands the past 2 years, and I think people are very happy with what we've come up with. So we'll hopefully continue to do a good job.
So, from your vantage point, as someone who's been involved in the Oxford issue for many years, and in fact could be called a second generation Oxfordian, because I had the honor of meeting your mother and father many years ago in 1972, actually in London. Where do you see the organization going or headed? What are your thoughts on that, if any? And some people may not have thoughts about how to do the future, but I'd be interested in your approach.
Well, one of the things that I'm happy to see is the interest that has just been growing since I was first interested in this. And actually, that was a few more decades ago than I'd like to tell you, because my mother and dad were so interested. And I always found it so much fun. They could tell all kinds of great things, and they went all over the world, and they met all kinds of wonderful people like you in London. And they became great friends of several of the most incredible scholars we've ever had. Mm-hmm. One was Abraham Bronson Feldman, was a very close personal friend. And
I didn't realize that.
Yes, I have a ton of letters and communication correspondence with him. He signed his letters Bronson. And they had, and they also became very close friends of Father Francis Edwards, who was a leading Jesuit scholar in England, and just they went around and they could win friends and influence people. And I see that continuing. And I see the people on this board, when I look at their resumes and who they are and what they're doing and what they're doing for the organization, our cup runneth over, and it makes me very happy.
So I also wanted to let you know that one of the things that always concerns anyone looking at this issue is, are we developing the next generation of Oxfordians? It's more than a rhetorical question. And I think by the accumulation of work that people like you are doing, people are getting the word. A number of months ago, I was invited by an Oxfordian, a member of our group, to give a talk to college students down at John Madison University, JMU, I think that's right, in the middle of Virginia. And I went down, these were all kids who were completing either dual bachelor's or dual master's degrees in English and in teaching.
Huh?
And my invitation was to talk with them about teaching Oxford. So the first thing you ask in a situation like that is, well, who's ever heard of Edward de Vere, the 17th Earl of Oxford? All the hands went up. They'd all heard of it.
Wow, I love it.
So, yeah. So, I think we want to keep working that way, but it's happening because of the nature of what we're doing and the availability of research as it's available on the website. And the hard work that board members like you put in to making this work. Now, I would be remiss if I didn't ask you about the Blueboard Tavern, which you seem to be sitting in or in front of, and what the intent there is and how you found it.
Well, this is the brainchild of one of the board members, Ben August. And he wanted to have something that would be very special for the membership, that would be basically available to the membership, and so that to encourage people to want to join and to be part of something and be part of our membership and to grow it, and as sort of an informal conversation, which seemed to be very popular these days. That various conversations in podcasts and whether or not they've all been recorded. We've had several dress rehearsals, and I think we've had 2 performances so far, if you want to call them that, or casual conversations with them. And I've just been overjoyed to be one of the participants. We talked about the first time about why it matters who wrote Shakespeare. We really are, and bringing a lot of, we all have, of course, Jonathan is our bartender who kind of sets the stage and goes from person to person and kind of keeps.
He's endlessly polishing. I noticed that. He's endlessly. I guess that's the surface or it's glasses or something, but he's polishing all the time. He's a great guy.
Yeah, and it's all been great. And we get a lot of different. We have somewhat different takes on things. And so this last time we talked about the dating of Shakespeare's plays. So and then it went on. The conversation sort of rolls on to other things, and we're getting good feedback from the members who are watching it.
Excellent.
And as I said, eventually they might be made into YouTubes for a wider audience. But for now, it's basically for the purpose of giving the membership something that they can access and hopefully. For
members only. I mean, you
only at the moment.
Yeah, I mean, you can't access it if you're not a member.
Exactly.
But if you are, you can learn from it. It's a pleasant evening, and if you can have your own beer. I'm pushing for those beer steins they have with the Blue Boar, the Blue Boar on it, which was Oxford's. A part of Oxford's heraldic design. But so what have I missed in terms of all your activities besides the few hours each night you get to sleep when you're not doing Oxfordian stuff? Well,
I enjoy everything I do, and that
it shows.
Oxford Fellowship has given me, and it's given all the rest of the board. When someone comes on the board, they're not made to do anything. There's nothing that other than we have responsibilities, of course, to tune in and constantly emails. You send emails to us for things we need to consider, and we respond, and we have a lot of business to discuss at every meeting that we have every month. And you are so good to, I'm not trying to give you a compliment. It's just a statement of fact.
Oh, go ahead.
Organize us. You'll take the compliment. Okay. But there's a lot going on and a lot to be organized that you do. And I'm a very happy camper, put it that way.
That's good. It shows. That's great. And we really appreciate it. I appreciate it. Thanks for joining us. Thanks for bringing us into your personal bar. I don't see anybody else there, but the day is still young, regardless of where you are. So look forward to talking to you soon.
Great. Thank you so much, Bob. Appreciate it.
Thanks, Bonner. Take care. Bye-bye.
Bye.